Very good evening and welcome to this 120th Leadership Conversation. We are extremely proud and honored to have Brigadier Ganesham with us. Please join me in welcoming Brigadier Ganesham. Welcome, sir.
Thanks, Andy. Thank you very much.
We are going to have these very interesting conversation today with Brigadier. And before that, allow me to actually make a brief introduction. There is a lot to talk about Brigadier Ganesham, but let me see how much I can pack in. Allow me to share my screen. So these are WiseViews leadership conversations, which we are holding every Friday evenings. And this is 120th, as I mentioned in the beginning. Today, we have Brigadier Ganesham, who is going to talk about leveraging grassroots creativity for life, and life is lifestyle for environment. There's an amazing topic concerning all of us, individuals, collectives, countries, continents, and the entire world. This intro and the opening remarks will be for about 20-25 minutes, followed by Q&A. We should be able to close by 7:45 p.m. tonight. Brigadier Ganesham is the founder president of Palle Srujana, and he has been a decorated soldier, a specialist in armored fighting vehicles. He served the Indian Army for about 35 years. He was instrumental in developing a multi-role weapon platform called Windy for the Army, which was displayed on the Republic Day Parade 2004. He's also patented that vehicle, which is the first patent of the Indian Army. Very distinguished achievement. He was awarded the Vishist Seva Medal, VSM, by the President of India on the occasion of Republic Day 2005. Post-retirement, Sir served Bharat Dynamics Limited, BDL, as Director Production from 2006 to 2009. He is a member of the Advisory Board of ECHS Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, Rajya Sainik Board, Telangana. He formed a voluntary group called Palle Srujana with like-minded friends to promote knowledge-based activity in United Andhra Pradesh in 2005. They publish a bi-monthly Palle Srujana in Telugu for dissemination of grassroots creativity and traditional knowledge since 2006. During pandemic, they conducted weekly webinars on grassroots innovation since October 2020, uninterrupted, showcasing 200 plus innovators and over 3,000 innovations. This is massive. Palle Srujana also conducts Chinna Shodha Yatra every quarter in various parts of both the states of Telugu to walk in the remote areas to understand and capture the grassroots knowledge and the creativity of villagers. Since 2011, 45 such yatras involving 1,200 participants walked over 2,500 kilometers, interacting with thousands of villages from over 700 villages. These yatris are the future social leaders and change makers. That is an amazing contribution so far. In the last 18 years, he addressed over 1 lakh of students in both the states and walked over 8,000 kilometers across the country in remote areas, visiting over 2,000 villages. Rural internship on and offline conducted for over 1,800 students, executives, etc. in the last 5 years, including for PG students of TIS, engineering and management institutions in various parts of the country. He built a voluntary network of 3,000 in Telugu states. In the last 18 years, they identified over 500 innovators and documented more than 2,000 traditional knowledge practices. The organization Palle Srujana facilitated many grassroots innovators to be recognized by national, international governments and private organizations. Innovators were showcased and connected to formal, reputed institutions. Till date, innovators received 13 President of India awards, 36 patents, and 7 international awards. 92 innovations incubated and marketed very successfully. Combined turnover of the grassroots innovations during the period 2015 to 2022 is over 18 crores, touching the lives of over 10 lakhs Telugu families and providing employment to over 200 people in the rural regions. 3 grassroots innovators, Mr. Mallesham, Mr. Ramaya, and Mr. C.V. Reddy, were awarded Padma Shri by the Government of India in 2017 and 2019 on respective Republic Days. This speaks volumes about the kind of movement that Brigadier Ganesham has been running on ground, with clear-cut, accountable accomplishments that we can list off and be proud of. Thank you so much, sir. There are several innovative concepts. One of them include Gram Swayam Samruddhi, rural internship, Gyan Shodh, and capturing creativity of school children, ignite the minds. His mission is to highlight the significance of grassroots creativity for an equitable growth of the nation to the students, industry, scientific community, society in general, and the government. Brigadier Ganesham was born in village Bhumpalli of Telangana. He holds an engineering degree as well as an MBA degree. Thank you so much, sir, once again for joining us and agreeing to speak with us. I will also take a moment to introduce my esteemed colleague, Professor R. Prasad. He is the Director of Academic Wing at ICFAI Group, and he focuses on strategy and entrepreneurship. He brings with himself 3 decades of rich experience as an entrepreneur, as a corporate leader, and now as an excellent academic at ICFAI Group. He holds a BTech from IIT Bombay and PGDM from IIM Kolkata. He published several books, articles, and presented papers in conferences in India and abroad. With this, I would like to stop sharing my screen and welcome both of you. It's a great moment for us when Brigadier Ganesham has agreed to speak with us. We are eagerly looking forward to learn from you some of those earth-shattering innovations and the movements at the grassroots level. And I think we will do extremely well to pay attention to, learn from, and probably replicate some of these things wherever it is possible in our respective domains and regions across the country. Some of them have joined from around the world as well. I'm sure it is going to be hugely beneficial. Warm welcome once again, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sudhakar Garu, and it's a privilege for me to be here. Now, may I have the honor to upload my presentation?
Kindly go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much once again, and welcome. And the greetings from Palle Srujana to all the participants. The topic is what we have been doing all these years, identifying grassroots creativity. So today I'd like to tell you that this grassroots creativity exists, and it is significant for us, for the nation, and for our lifestyle. And that's what I'd like to tell you in the 20 minutes I have. Then, of course, you can ask me questions. Go ahead. Now, grassroots innovations are 2 types. We have to be very clear on this. Formal system making solutions for the grassroots people is one category. These innovations are made in a lab with a proper systems, analysis, and accessibility to things. There's one more category, which is grassroots innovations made by grassroots people, and they make in a hut, they make under a tree. They have no budgets, no analysis, no accessibility, nothing is available to them. So my request to all of you is, these grassroots innovations should be seen differently in category 1, category 2. And today I have the honor to speak about the category type 2, the one which is made by grassroots for the grassroots people. Verghese Kurian, the man who created Amul, amazing corporate in 60s, 70s, and later, he said that for the diversified country like ours, there should be a partnership between wisdom of the rural people and the modern management skills. This mix is the one going to help our diverse country. So if you want to know wisdom of the people, you have to go to the people. Because they are informal sector, we are in the formal sector. We both work in boxes, closed boxes perhaps. There's no connectivity. Both are unknown to each other. So if you want to know them, you have to go to them, because the knowledge they have, it has no legs. We have legs. Palle Srujana believes that Palle Srujana implies Palle is village, Srujana is creativity. So we believe that people have creativity. Everybody has a creativity, even the poor have creativity. Therefore, we see villages as source and not sinks. Dalai Lama once said that we're all living for happiness. And happiness eludes when we have some problems in our life, small pains. Pain is not only physical pain like time waster, productive waster, productivity lower, and time wasters, effort wasters. All these things will cause some barriers for the happiness. Now, we have to evolve ideas to reduce these pains. And that's innovation. That's so simple. If an innovation doesn't reduce some pain of a people, doesn't bring happiness to them, some happiness, then it has to be reviewed and seen that delivers that things. and it should reduce pain, and therefore happiness enhances. And that is a concept grassroots innovators use. We are a volunteer group nurturing grassroots creativity and also trying to disseminate affordable solutions by giving voice, visibility, and velocity to the grassroots creativity. And since 2005, we are working in both Telugu states now. And of course, we have collaboration with National Innovation Foundation and Honeybee Network. Our journey of the last 17 years has been extremely ecstatic. We met unknown people, learned so much from them, and we comprehended the harmony between the nature and people, the coexistence, the interdependence, basic principles of the creation. We have enjoyed this, seen them, and we saw them working there. And we learned to accept things, because villages accept us the way we are. We learned to accept. We learned great hospitality. We saw samvedana, which creates samvedana is feeling others' pain the way they feel. And that samvedana we saw in the people, and with samvedana on their own, they embarked on making innovations. Amazing people with nothing with them. And their creativity is so amazing. Their innovations are appropriate. They focus on affordable excellence. They use low technology, use local resources, local problems, local solutions. And all this happened based on volunteerism. There's no budget, there's no task, there's nothing given to them. They feel the vedana of others are their own, and voluntarily they come forward to do it. There's no mandate given to them. My dear friends, humans are basically volunteers. Now, in the formal system, we have become, voluntary has gone back, and we become everything is in terms of remuneration or what we get in return. But villages still, they are so good. And we experienced all this. And by the way, these wonderful words are not taught in any college, not discussed in anywhere else. Only materialistic things we discuss. Most of them are not discussed. And my 60 years of life, I've never enjoyed these words and its meaning. But this journey has been so wonderful. So we see individual excellence was there in the country in our centuries, Anadiga. I mean, years together, we have been having individual excellence, individual creativity, which system promoted, Rajas promoted, Jamindars promoted, Jagirdars promoted, and that promotion of excellence was used by people, and sometimes we sent across the country for merchandise. And the entire economy was run on individual excellences, and the collaboration of the system was to promote them. It could be anybody, no, any gender, any caste, anywhere, doesn't matter. But that's the way system grew. But what happened later is colonial years, when they came, they made institutions of excellence. Slowly we forgot individual excellences. And people with a lot of creativity, blessed by God, they may not have reached the institution of excellence, may not have reached. Then what happens? The ability of institution of excellence is lower. And that kind of a thing happened in the country. So we thought, are they still existing, individual excellence? Let's go and search further. And we searched and we start scouting first, then do the documentation, then incubation, some sort of promotion. Then we connect them to the formal system. Now, scouting is not easy, because when we go and talk to them, why should they share? Unknown. How do we communicate with unknown people? And we can't promise anything to them because we have nothing to promise. And he doesn't even know what to do with that idea. He saw the problem, he made it and used it. Now, that kind of a communication, talking to them is amazing, and we have learned over a period of time. And now it is comfortable for us to talk to any unknown man and get them their knowledge for the benefit of people. It took some time. We have scheduled baggage. You would get trust from the people, get accepted by them. Then the communication comes up. And now the documenting. See, in the formal system, document is concurrent. You make a project report, you make observations, you make analysis, submit the report. It's concurrent. So document is not an issue. But here it is retrospective. And you ask a guy, how have you done? He says, sir, it is in front of you, just take it. They don't answer questions. But if we don't do documentation correctly, how do we connect these significant innovations to the formal system? How do we scale it up? What kind of a rewards and awards we can do it? So the biggest problem in capturing grassroots creativity is documentation. And do we have forms, formats, accepted formats? How do we protect their rights, right of their IP? All these things come up. So there's a great responsibility lies on the volunteers or the people who are documenting to address these issues and see that the innovator doesn't get harmed. He gets his estimate right, whatever is a cash or non-cash or esteem, anything else. But the responsibility lies with us, not on him. Now that's the responsibility. There's a seriousness we have to do it. And connecting, we do it, but how does formal system recognize? They say, who is this? What has he done? Has he tested? Has validation? So many questions come up. How can he do it? Even that questions come up. So there's a big problem of making formal system understand that these innovations are useful. Now, I just listed out some numbers here so that the quantum of the existence and significance of grassroots innovators are so many. A voluntary organization like ours can scout more than 500 innovations and more than 1,000 traditional practices. Out of them, patents have been granted to over 30. And more than 100 innovations are in the market. They're being sold, manufactured and sold. Where are they manufacturing? Manufactured in the villages. We have more than 30 plus production areas in both the Telugu states. In the villages, innovators. We try to help them as a group. So much can be done. And all this on volunteerism and samvedana. And so far, we haven't got much from the government. When this innovator goes to college, they say, who are you? They just to understand. As I said earlier, grassroots category 2 is different. Grassroots by grassroots is different. We are not aware of it. We have to understand it by walking to them, understanding them. Now I'll show some examples perhaps will give you. And even recognition by the formal system, with the volunteers writing all kinds of awards. We got 3 Padma Shri awards for the people, 13 President of India medals, international awards, and a picture has been made on Malaysia. And in recent Infosys Foundation, Arvind gave an award to Muda Shiva. So many things have happened. And how this happened? Because the worth of the innovation is recognized by the formal system. So that's a kind of significance we have. So how do we leverage this wonderful knowledge, vocal for local, as Prime Minister says, for Atmanirbharata? Can we strengthen the strengths of the villages and then give what they don't have? But there's no point saying that they're sinks and replace everything what they have. It may not be fair. But strengthen the strengths and add what they don't have so that they meet their aspirations and live as happily as all of us. As I mentioned, friends, the whole innovations in the grassroots level comes from volunteerism and samvedana. And they have values. And some values I listed out here. And it's like mother, mother at home exactly follows this volunteerism. Samvedana. She says, my son is not eating well. She observes him. Son doesn't demand. She makes innovation. She makes something, makes him happy. And third is the daughter is not well, not happy. Something she does. Amazing volunteerism, values and samvedana is there at home. And we saw similar thing out there. Now, since my childhood, I have seen this 1:1 pump. One presses, one drinks. No version 2, no version 3. But our cell phones have versions every day. Someone made on the right side, you see 1:7 with taps. Same pump. As a mechanical engineer, I cannot see leverage coming up without extra cost, 1:1 to 1:7. And any one of you seeing it can take straight away, you can make it so simple, so good in all respects. This comes from principle MLM, more from less for many. Now here is this boy, Mansukh Bhai Jagani, had made a cycle driving a sprayer. There is no other energy. The rear wheel, put a belt on it. That's all, no energy. If somebody had half acre or a quarter acre, he can't afford to buy sprayers and diesel and electric or batteries. He can't afford to. And we have many people like that. Almost 85% people have less than a hectare. And spray is behind, not in the front. And what we have given to people, spray in the front. The farmers walk into the spray, sort of a death trap. We don't even think of safety. Most of us don't think. Now, you see this fertilizer has been given somewhere in 60s to the farmers. So the last minute dispensation, we have not given any instrument. They throw it with hand, throw somewhere. Location and quantity both are not under control. So a pessimistic estimate says for 35% fertilizer is wasted because the last mile dispensation, we have no scientific method. And it's going on for 50 or 60 years. Now this boy, Mahesh, made a small, you see a gadget, all made in the village. He locates and he controls. If you want twice, you can put twice as more quantity. And similarly, this boy, Hemant. Sorry,
సాధారణంగా రైతులు యూరియా వంటి ఎరువులను చేతితో చల్లకమించడానికి మేము తయారు చేసిన ఈ ఫర్టిలైజర్
Now he does with 2 hands.
ఒకేసారి రెండు వైపులా చెట్లకి ఎరువులు అందించవచ్చు.
He does with 2 hands. So the boy saw what father is doing and he said twice. Small things, but it improves the productivity, improves happiness. Now we all from schools. There the principal says construct, make taps. The contractor makes in one level. But in the school, children are at different heights. There's a pain. They don't say it, but they feel that. And one school, one child complained and that the headmaster made multi-level taps. My dear friends, a child runs to her level of tap, happily uses the water, and she thanks all the people who made for her. And maybe she will do for next generation when she grows up. Sanskar comes when we take up, when you address their pain, they learn to take others' pain. Smallest thing, but makes so much sense. Look at the seeding. People, 5 people, 2 days, they make 1 acre seedings. Now this innovation here made by Ashok from, she just stands and puts a rod, puts a seed from the top and bends. That's all. 1 lady, 1 acre, 1 day. How much happiness it comes up. Just think about it. We have, we have village transporter, we had bullock carts. Now they are not there. Now what is that they have village transporter? Auto? That's not a transporter. This man, when Nayak made a trolley of 4 wheels, 3 feet by 4 feet by 6 feet, and it can be driven by anything in the village. The prime mover is not required, only that, and it can carry any kind of things. You appreciate that. Can be driven by any 2-wheeler or 4-wheeler, even tractor. I'm sure you know about handloom, but handloom, there's a lot of work in legs. They have to use almost 5,000 to 6,000 times every day pressing these pedals, big pedals, and which they hold the pedal so that the threads are lifted and the load on the knee every time is 25-35 kgs, depending on the loop. Now imagine what happens. So much load coming into the knee, about 45 years age, they stop weaving. So Moda Shivakumar, not a weaver, he made an electromagnetic device, as you can see, put in the front there. And what this chap has to do is, only with a big toe, he has to press a small button. And the electromechanical machine takes the entire load. There's no load on the knee. And he can comfort it. The man who is doing in the video is 75 years old man. It is no pain for him. And we have 28 lakhs weavers in the country, out of them 70% are women. But somewhere we missed this point. And it's going on. Why we missed is the one we have to think about. And this we have installed. And the handicapped guy, Moda Shivakumar, gave a switch, hand switch, which he can do with a hand switch. Left and right, 2 pedals can be operated. He already installed more than 1,000. He is the one who got Infosys Award recently. Now, weeding is a big problem in paddy fields. Now, Chandrasekhar from Chittoor district has made a herbicide, not the chemical which a herbicide, which with a day before transplantation, mix with sand and throw it in the field. And next day transplantation, weeds don't come. You see, weeds don't come at all because this herbicide destroys the seeds of weeds. And whatever the nutrition left, soil nutrition left by weeds, seeds of weeds is given to the crop, and they get about 15-20% increase in productivity also noticed. This is a spin-off, not thought of originally. Now we have such things from villages, and what happiness people have. Now, even this plantation, normal plants you have to put in, you have a problem. Because you have to bend into it every day, and it takes 10,000 plants in acre takes about 3-4 days. He made a small gadget, just see how he does it. That's all. There is no bending and very, very productive things, very easy to do it. We have 6.5 lakh villages and we have no cranes in the village. And we are very happy over it. I don't know. There's no manifesto. No government says, no party says that I'll give crane to each village. I hope they deserve, I'm sure they deserve it. They agree with me. And Parkal, one guy, Maipal, he made a crane. The green part is a crane attached to tractor. It lifts 15 feet and about 1,000 kgs. And since the tractor is available, the cost of crane only 8,000 rupees. And one crane in the village can provide employment, but happiness to the people, that no waste of waiting for the people, no able body not available, all the things you understand it. What unmet needs? The unmet need is met by villagers. We have not thought of it. Why is the point? I think we have to debate much more. Why so many ways? Now then, spray. Now this Malesh, we had a engine, so he put a solar. But he sprays only 3 feet and is the front again. And that is quite dangerous in the front. Now this boy, what he did, he put it the same thing in the rear. The farmer doesn't walk into the spray. So much of health, happiness. And he saw his father and made this. Ganesham, I found 3-4 months back. Then when you spray, it's only 3 feet or 4 feet or 10 feet, not more than that. And if we have to do 2-3 acres, how much time it takes? So Maulali, what he did, he put the whole thing on the bun. He put the whole thing on the bun, increased the output input, and took the pipe and went up to 300 feet. 300 feet. 3 feet to 300 feet. What courage Maulali had to think. Game changer, and is a big game changer, and comfortably he can do 5 acres in 1 day. Right. You have seen innovations. Now I have so many innovations, but I will not show all the innovations to you. It is short of time. But they have values I mentioned. They meet unmet needs. The emphasis is on people, because people become happy, not the technology. Technology used as a means. They understand, describe the problem, pain, define the problem, and search for technology. And technology has to be affordable, appropriate, affordable excellence, and it could be, it is no post-sale maintenance, no post-sale connection with the OEM. None of the innovations you have seen, once the man sells to you, farmer doesn't look back. There's amazing factored in the innovation. Then they have affordable excellence. This is what Dr. Mashilkar always says. Poor people should not be given because they can't pay much. It's not a linearity. If you give the best to them, they give best back to us, and it affects all of us. And so many value systems, they are more from less for money, many. We have seen some examples. And reduction of input costs. Everything reduce input cost or input effort, input time, ultimately they get benefited. What we can control is the input cost. We can't control the yield or we control the output. So Palle Srujana believes that we have to observe problems. We observe the good things of society. We'll tell children, this is good, this is good, this is good. But we don't teach them to observe the pains they're facing. And when we start observing the pains in our surroundings, home or street or colony, then you feel the pain, you internalize the pain. You see 10 problems, oh God, you realize so many problems are there. And those problems, when you internalize, you try to solve. If you cannot remove the problem, reduce the pain by a step forward. And all of us, my dear friends, have a capacity to reduce the pain by some percentage. But don't wait for the problem to be solved. Let's all do it. That's all I have. Thank you very much, ICFAI. I'm open for questions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. This is brilliant. This is nothing short of a masterclass on innovation that we actually unearthed from various books and gurus, both in India and abroad. Innovation looked at from various angles and captured in various formats. But this is a to do kind of innovation. This is a must do kind of innovation, and this is an innovation that translates into benefits for the people right there on the ground. There's hardly any theory attached to it, and there's a lot of value attached to it, and that's why it makes this session both brilliant as well as amazingly useful in terms of the possible levels of peak that one can reach if one focuses on innovation at Grassroots. I can't thank you enough for this wonderful session. There are so many nuggets that you have given. Day in and day out, we teach, or we attempt to teach innovation in our campuses, in our programs. The format and the framework in which you attempt it, from scouting an idea to providing an IP and ending it up at business development, is precisely the framework in which all the innovation exercises in business schools at least will take place. But there are several theories that are supporting that, and most of the students who are involved there will carry home an ambiguity all the time. And compared to the innovations that you have provided here and accomplishments that you have cited are directly on the ground, and therefore there's a great deal of learning that is packed into these innovations and the practices that one can learn from. The values that you have cited are pretty close to some of the values that best of the entrepreneurs will have to epitomize in terms of reducing the input cost, in terms of being very empathetic. When you are empathetic, you will keep yourself in other shoes, and Samvedana begins. I mean, that's a beautiful trait, and very, very nicely explained with only 3 words out there. But if you look into what happens at our home, like the way you have given the example of mother coming to know about the child, because mother loves the child. The child need not tell the mother that the child has fever, but mother will come to know. And then there is a comfort provided. There's an effort to ease out that pain. The effort to ease out the pain is born out of empathy, is born out of motherliness. And I'm sure that's a great value that we will have to carry as businessmen, as innovators, as farmers, as individuals on the ground, not just in our villages and small towns, but it is true everywhere across the country. I'm actually overwhelmed, sir, to pick up 1 or 2, but there are hundreds of points that you have mentioned. I'll keep that towards the end. But for now, I must acknowledge that this is the best 20 minutes I have ever spent listening to any leader on this platform. Thank you so much, sir. I will now, without wasting any further time, request Professor Prasad to come in, and we will initiate the Q&A. There are 2 clusters of Q&A. The first cluster will be taken up by Professor Prasad, and I'll come back for the second cluster. During the second cluster, I will open the mic for the members of audience who have joined. At that time, they can talk directly to you as well. But initially, the questions that we have landscaped to have an appropriate discussion is going to be initiated, and subsequently we'll open it to them. I'll take 1 second to acknowledge the fact that we have some distinguished members in the audience who have joined today. We have members, leaders joining from academics, leaders from media. There is a commercial pilot from Air India who has joined. We have former Chief of Air Staff joining. We have academic leaders joining. We have Wing Commander joining. We have an academic leader, Professor Muralidhara, joining from Bangalore. We have Professor Dr. H.P. Singh. He's also VSM. He has joined from Jaipur. He's our president at the ICFAI University, Jaipur. I welcome one and all, even if I have not taken some of the names. I warmly respect all of you and value your presence wholeheartedly. You are once again welcome to this wonderful conversation to be. And I hand it over to Professor Prasad. Thank you, Professor Prasad.
Thank you, Professor Rao. Thank you, sir, for touching upon such an essential area to our nation. We've always had discussions and economic statements about people moving from rural areas to urban areas and what all benefits it accrues, and that you can't do anything about it. We've heard that in multiple sessions, but I think for the first time we have looked at an opportunity that exists in such areas. And I'm sure with the same attitude, it can be translated to urban also, but I think the need is right now more in the rural areas. So thank you very much for having brought to light what can possibly be done by volunteerism, by the spirit that you carry in this particular mission. And I only hope that lots of people take up ventures, initiatives, social ventures in this area and make huge impact on that. You already cited some of them, though not ventures. You have cited that a lot of people are doing internship, they're making their contributions in some form or the other in this sort of an initiative. So I think it's a very huge thing, and I think it's an extremely happy occasion that we have got something as bright as this being put in front of us. So I'll come to the first question, sir. It is related. For a person with your sort of a background, army, structured way of working, regimented life, then retirement, how did you get into an area as into such a big opportunity, and what gave you the motivation as well as the direction, the steps that you took to get here?
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Sudhakar and Dr. Prasad. And I'm honored to have such an elite and with a high level audience, and thanks to all of them for listening to me. You see, in Army, we do a lot of work and work in the very, very difficult circumstances. You train Jawan for 100 situations. In the war, he finds a different situation, but he wins because he innovates. The man, the interface between the weapon and the human in the context is so difficult. And weapon doesn't change by the weather, but man has to use it better. So that kind of innovation they do, which I've observed over a period of time. And every time I found that unless innovation is done by on the ground level, who physically fights the war, you won't win wars. So a hypothesis came to my mind that in every organization, people at the bottom are contributing a lot. In fact, I may be permitted to say that generals plan the war and soldiers win the war. Pardon me if it is an offending somebody, but so the way in fact was that, and we don't mind giving credit to the people. Now, but I didn't know whether it's happening outside or not. I thought it was only restricted to Army. Anand Mahendra connected us to National Innovation Foundation, and there we found that they found the similar thing in the society where National Innovation Foundation under Dr. Mashelkar and Professor Anil Gupta, they scout such a innovative thought from the villages, informal system, and they try to bring it out and disseminate to horizontally from village to village. So when I saw that, I said, damn good. What we understood in the Army is there in society already. We didn't know. Now, and there I found that Andhra Pradesh has no cases there. So I asked them why. I said, we don't have volunteer organizations on the ground. Believe me, friends, that day I decided after retirement, let me come to Hyderabad, my place, in Andhra Pradesh, start a volunteer organization to scout and document the grassroots creativity in Telugu state. And that's my motivation. I'm very proud of my decision. Thanks for asking.
Thank you, sir. It looks so organized in the way you have reached this particular place. Your experience, your thought process, your meeting Anand Mahindra Garu, and then the National Innovation Foundation, and then others doing, you finding a gap in your own place, and then going ahead and then moving to this sort of a level. I think it just shows us that if you've got something in our mind, we need to take the steps needed to get something done about it. Thank you very much, sir. I move to the next question. This is about, you see, sir, from what you have said, there are some fundamental points that you have brought up. One is about the volunteerism aspect. Now, how have you organized for this? What kind of challenges have you faced, and how have you brought innovation into this?
Interesting. When I came to Hyderabad after retirement, I took 3 decisions. That's the basis of the working. One was that I will not earn any more, live in the pension. Simple. Second one is that I will not use my knowledge of first 60 years. I'll become zero and start all over again like a KG child. Third decision was, we will not work in an organization, we will work in a voluntary group. Because I felt that organization, we don't work without organization. Nothing can be done in this country without organization. Organization always inhibits, gives a periphery under which you have to work. Though I enjoyed working, but that urge was there. Can I work on my own the way it is for society? So we took that step. The 3 decisions made us, and we only work on volunteer. Anybody comes to Palle Srujana, we tell them this is the kind of work from left to right. You choose what you want to do, where you want to do, how much you want to do, when you want to do, don't want to do. We don't ask questions. But when they come, they do 100%. And now there are no targets. Then when there's no resources, how can you have targets? So we keep evolving every day. Some requirement comes up, some innovator says, sir, I have innovation, or we scout it. How do we go ahead? We discuss about it, volunteers, and that guy doesn't know anything. But we feel it is important to society. So discussions, volunteers, and society is so good. And to cut short, in the last 17 years, we have been blessed by the goodness of society. And the goodness came out because we are volunteers and working for society. There was a convergence. When the goodness converges, life is beautiful. And I think we are going through that life. Public, private, government, media, individuals, abroad, everybody helped us. No one discouraged us. If they're not come, it's fine, we waited. So it is an evolution. There's no organization, there's no management principles. Management comes only when you have resources. When zero resources, where's the management? Doesn't exist at all. So it is a goodness of the people. And first time in my life, we tasted the goodness which propelled this organization last 17 years. We don't give anything to anybody. No payment, nothing is done. We don't deal with money, in fact. But if the innovators need money, directly people put in their account directly. Palle Srujana doesn't come in the way. But we take the moral responsibility of its proper utilization. I stop here.
Excellent, sir. Can you give us some idea of the degree of volunteerism that you have seen across all these projects? You gave some numbers for the amount, the what you have documented, the number of innovations which have come up, also the number of awards that you have got. Is there some idea of the kind of volunteerism that you go through at different points in time or accumulative?
Prasad Garu, you already gave the answer. All this you quoted has come because of volunteerism. You know, if they have not written for an award, if not looked at an award in the website, and this out of that, this needs which kind of innovation can be recommended, volunteers sit down and decide, then write to the satisfaction of the jury, then they get it. How much volunteerism has gone into it? You said by giving so many awards have come to people. So effort required, we all know how much is there. You know, Palle Srujana doesn't take the names of volunteers anywhere. Palle Srujana name is not there anywhere. It's only the innovator and innovation. We don't give any credit. In the website, you don't find volunteers' names credit, or anywhere we don't give it. But people come, people do, because we're not in a hurry. And it has been a very, very positive strokes I got from society. I don't know how to say that magnitude of volunteerism. That's why I put some pictures on you. We have no targets. So how do we muster resources when we have no targets? There's no need to muster resources. People come do. We have to go for scouting. We have to go for 5 villages. I make an announcement in the water channels I have. 2-3 people come, sometimes 10 come, and they all come on their experience, their expenses, their time, their effort, and they do a wonderful job. We go as a team. There's no boss. Actually, it's difficult for me to explain how I have done it, how we have done it. But I can only say that it's an evolution. We not looked back, nor we used any principles, only goodness with some Vedana.
I think you have said a lot, though you have not said anything. It's a completely different model. And, you know, when you look at what's happening in other segments, you know, there is a tendency to quantify it for the formal world to understand it and then see what they can learn from this whole thing. But I think you have given a lot of principles. First is the basic principle of goodness. Then you mentioned that, you know, you don't take credit, and you never made any statement which took credit. And then I think you talked about 2 critical things, in which is first that you make an announcement and that you've got all your volunteers through that announcement, whatever you required. And then you have productive discussions and lots of things come out of the discussion, and then it is action. This is what I could gather of what you could limited of what you do in this particular model, but I think it's worth a lot of study, sir. Because some of these things, if there's so much impact coming from here, I'm sure that it can happen elsewhere also. And people can look at what they should do and what they should not do, and perhaps be guided by your experience. Thank you very much, sir.
One caution, it is not organized. Without organization, we do these things. The moment organization comes in, volunteerism doesn't work, is my understanding. So when you say, we want to put organization management in this particular activity, I'm afraid it's very difficult. Can we see them two separately? What's the problem? Why to have everything through the formal system and formal concepts? Can we see it as a human angle? Can we see it as a natural systems living in the human habitats or humans together? We give them separate priorities, separate recognition. Why everything has to be seen through the formal system? Even that we must teach our children, but try to see natural way.
Absolutely, sir. This lack of a system is itself a model. I mean, in the sense that people get inspired by what is getting done. And I think by the very way in which the action takes place, a lot of people are getting inspired. Those who are listening in, I think they're getting their own ideas in their own particular areas, or perhaps connected to what you're doing. Thank you very much, sir. And I'm not asking you about funding, which was the other thing. I think you've already answered the question.
Yeah, we don't get funds. We don't seek funds. We don't give it to anybody else.
Excellent, sir. It's a wonderful model. That also is zero. Not just the credit or the remuneration, even the funding is zero. The other critical aspect which I wanted to understand was about, you mentioned that it is difficult to build trust and gain communication. To get to an aspect where you're able to understand what is the innovation as well as get into documentation of it. How did you travel this journey, and are there any lessons in that for us, sir? So your audio is off, sir.
Yeah, thanks for asking this question. I was waiting for it. You see, you have a visiting card to show in the formal system. They will see what all you have done, and then they gauge you, assess you, and they, oh, this is what this gentleman is or the woman is. You go to the village, the visiting card makes no sense to them. How do they gauge you? How do they assess you? They assess by human interaction. They assess by talking to you, seeing you, how you are behaving with them, how genuine you are. And after certain discussion and conversations, they accept you. But it's not easy. You have to make them feel genuine about your intent, not that you feel genuine about it. And this has to be done with taking out all the baggage we have. I had army baggage, I had director BDL baggage. It was not easy, Prasad Garu. It took about 2-3 years time to become a common man, to get accepted by common unknown people. And we always go to unknown people. And once he accepts you and he sees genuine intent in you, then he starts trusting you. And once the trust comes, conversation flows and the genuine conversations come up. Now, this is an amazing experience. I never experienced this in my entire first life. But this life has taught me that once two humans, Atmiyata to matladbodu, talk with Atmiyata, not role playing. And then the real conversation comes out. And that's the way we keep learning from them. They share everything. And they're not even worried what will he do. Does he trust you? Then he says, oh, he will not do any harm to me, the feeling he has. Now, the responsibility shifts to you that live up to his expectations. And kind of you become good, better, and take more responsibility. I keep doing it. And you see some results, some negatives. It all tells you to strengthen. And you keep evolving. And there's so many people to help you. Even they pardon you if you make a mistake, provided you are genuine. So it's an amazing experience.
I think there are some fantastic lessons again here, sir. And I think before all the commerce and the organization came in, a lot of this would have been done in society. And perhaps, trade has brought in other levels in it and made it far more complicated. But I think it all started with this sort of an approach, which we now seem to have forgotten, at least in the urban world. So thanks for bringing that to the center stage and highlighting it. And I'm pretty sure that even in the urban world, some of these basic principles can be used, but because not everything is done for transaction. There's a lot of things which are done beyond the transaction. I'm sure this will be of help. Thank you very much, sir. I come to the third critical stage which you highlighted. You have mentioned about yatras. And to what extent have these yatras helped you as a tool in your approach to this entire mission?
Thanks again. We need volunteers. How do I get them? It's not easy. Just, I came out 35 years to Hyderabad and I knew hardly anybody. The whole world has changed here. So we thought, let's do some exercise with people and interaction with people and nature. So we started Yatra, and this was actually started by Prof. Anil Gupta in 1990, Shodha Yatra in Srishti and NIF. So I took his permission and started Chinna Shodha Yatra here for 3 days. And what exactly is an unknown place, unknown path, unknown people, unknown agenda. You make yourself zero by unlearning. In the first half an hour, we reach the starting point. All of us try to become zero. So you only learn. We go to village for learning, not for telling them. I told you, we believe that there's a tremendous amount of creative knowledge available in the villages. With that belief, we walk. Now, people come with inquisitiveness. It's not a trick. It's not an organized one. Unknown. Even they don't even know where they're going to sleep, or nothing they know. But we will take care of it. All volunteers do it. There's no event manager for this. Pure volunteerism works. And we sleep in schools, temples. We live like them. We eat what's available in the villages. We buy, of course. Everybody pays for their own things. And while doing what these people do is, they start looking at the reality around you. They look at the people, the interaction with the harmony with the nature. And when they talk to them, they'll speak their aspirations, they speak their strengths, they speak their problems, and keep listening to them. Don't give any solution because we're not good at it initially. Then youngster, seniors, we got IAS officer, we got scientists, women, all of them come. Each one looks it around, and those 3 days, there's nothing else to do except talking, learning, nothing else. And you are in the space, most open time. There's no prescription, there's no program. We only share what we learned in the previous villages with the villagers, and we also scout innovations. But the youngsters who come, or people who come for the first time, we don't ask these things. But at the end of the day, my dear friends, they suddenly realize that they have seen something truth around them, which they have learned on their own, in their own perception, in their own parameter, in their framework. What the sanskar they have, they picked it up. And each one picks up differently. And this is something new input. They walk back home with new input, which gets into their hard disk. Now, in the life, when they start making decisions, this comes as a decision input. And the quality of decision input increases because the fundamental truths, the truths in the village, truths of the nature are there in this input. And therefore, the quality of decision increases. And if 1 lakh people, their decision quality is increased by no cost, nothing but on their own learning about the nature and people, I'm sure the nation will be changed. And we got so many volunteers from them. And anybody who joins Shodha Yatra is a volunteer, wherever he is later. And they do a lot of work for us. And that's the way we got learnings and also a movement for the Palle Srujana to move forward.
Superlative, sir. Again, I think, there are a lot of very, very fundamental things that you said. In the case of management, we do talk about zero budgeting, but I think this is about zero in everything in life. Start. And there's something that looks very meditative in what is getting done, though it is not sitting in a place. It's about wandering around and then being aware of what's happening and then throwing out what you already know or not bringing it into the mind. Some sort of unconditioning is also taking place. Some sort of unlearning is taking place. And then in all that space, you're getting in lots of new things, which when you reflect, you're able to make better quality decisions. I think it's in a completely new set of life skills that the person gains, perhaps when they take up an assignment like this. And I think it's not just about students. it's also about very experienced people who learn quite a bit by going on these yatras. Thank you, sir. I think you're evidence of that. And with this, I come to the end of this cluster. I think the rest of the questions you've answered in your presentation as also through answers in this. I hand it back to Professor Rao. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. I've been waiting for this, when you will hand it over to me. And I've been waiting for the last 30 minutes. So thank you. Thank you so much. We can't actually make sure that everything is covered in this 1 hour, but we are making this attempt to actually see that. I think we will seriously look for an opportunity to connect with you again at our campus levels, wherever and whenever it's convenient to you. Sir, I have a couple of questions, and now I request all the participants to, whoever would like to talk to you may raise their hands so that we'll connect you with Brigadier Ganesham very, very quickly. I need to see the hands going up, and before that I can ask questions. And before asking a question, here is a message for you, sir. Brigadier Ganesham is a wonderful and well-informed person too. We were course mates at IMA Dehradun, 35 Tech. This is from Colonel Bhaskar Jugalkar.
Thank you, Jugalkar.
Yes, Colonel Jugalkar was with us at ICFAI a few years back. He was working in one of our units in Maharashtra, and is an amazing value addition for our leadership team at that time. Thank you so much, sir. Now I'll take one question and then see if hands go up. Sir, the entire exercise is about having no organization, having no particular structure which is inhibiting the innovation at grassroots level. I'm sure the whole concept is actually turned upside down. Therefore, it is seen as organization vis-a-vis volunteerism and structure vis-a-vis value addition and innovation. I think any impediment that comes in the way for excellence and goodness to flourish at the grassroots level should be welcome, because these models have not been tested, whereas the work that you have done with accomplishment, with anecdotes, with examples, with names is a testimony to the fact that this has become a big movement in itself over several years that you have been working on this. So amazing it is. So one question I have is, has there been any benefit of online or digital in this mission? Do you see any scope for that? Or it is actually two different worlds and then we don't have to incorporate any digital part of it into this mission?
Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, our focus is not on volunteerism. Our focus is not on goodness. Our focus is capturing the knowledge and disseminate horizontal for the benefit of people. In one village, someone who is blessed by God, he has more creativity. So he looks around, he sees the pain, he feels the pain, and he solves the problem appropriately, affordably. And that he doesn't know how to disseminate because he has done only for himself or the village. What do is we go there, identify such solutions, which may be required in another 1 million villages. We don't know. And horizontally, we disseminate that its absorption, its customization, its maintenance is easy for them because it comes from the same environment. So our focus is on capture the knowledge, disseminate the knowledge. The rest all came in our way. And today I'm speaking because these are the ones which helped us, but there's no planning in this. And if goodness was not come, volunteers not come, what would I have done? Nothing. Would have not invited me here. It happened because they all came in. So it's the point it proves is that if you do something good for the people and consistently, I'm sure the goodness comes to you from the environment, which we have experienced just enormously. And corporate, as I told you, the innovations made, they're so different. They're made in a different environment, different value system, different purpose. Why different purpose? Because They work in the interconnectedness. What interconnectedness? Soil, water, heat, wind, insects, life. That is where this innovative farming takes place. If I make a missile, I don't have all this. I have only technology. I work in only one area, hardly interconnectedness. Now, when you make something human made, working in the nature, the interconnectedness has to be seen holistically. And if we don't see it, there are problems faced by people. Now, where do we teach this in our colleges? Which scientists know about holisticness of a problem? Unless he goes there, sees there, we call it, innovators make the solutions, knowing, feeling, and doing it. They know the problem, they feel the problem. Then when they do something, it is almost close to the perfectness. We don't have the second aspect. Feeling is not done by us. So, diversity. India has 124 agri-zones. And how can standardized technology can be used for customized nature? It is a misfit. And this is known to us, but we hide it, or we don't want to address it. These people, they make it, addressing the diversity, they make local solutions. So they are perfect for the solution, what they use. So these value systems which I have spoken are emphasis on people, not on technology. As I mentioned, happiness. So all these value systems we have not learned in the formal system. And today we are following mostly Western systems, imported. There were management jargons, Western systems, of technologies, Western systems, all transfer of technology, making it, giving it here. I can tell you how harvester damaged the people. Harvester started burning of the fields by our farmers. Nobody burned fields. Look at your childhood, have you ever seen fields are being burned? And then animals have gone away in the villages because the grass is denied to the farmer by harvester. Only grains are given. Farmers entitled grass and grains. Harvester says, I don't give grass to you, I only give grains. No, such kind of negative things happen which nobody is studying and doing it. As I mentioned earlier, there's a box of formal system, there's a box of informal system. The sealed boxes unknown to each other. Now, this unknownness can be broken only when someone bridges knowing this informal system. And we have people like our volunteers that come forward to formal system, you know something, know them, represent them to formal system. Then at some stage, maybe 50 years, 100 years, both systems understand each other and then synergies will come. Today, there's Ahankar is working. He says, I have money, I know technology, I have power, so you listen to me. You don't even respect them. Now people say that they can enter IITs, they can enter colleges. Gate pe andar jana nahi dete. Nobody allows them to get in, and these are no timings, other things. So there are problems and it can be resolved. But people have to walk into the villages, talk to them, see them, live there. It's not morning going, coming back, live there. Once you understand, we can do miracles, the entire formal system. And today we have seen societies alienated in the education system. It happened to me, it happened to you, it happened next generation. We alienate them.
Absolutely.
And that alienation should go away because Indian society needs the wise people. People with local technologies, customized technologies, Samvedana technologies. We have to build our children like that. And it's possible. Connect them to society. We'll connect them to only industry and government. Something we have to do. Look after our own people. Thank you.
Great, great. I think this is a test of leadership. In fact, these movements, the ask that you have placed on all of us and on the society is in terms of knowing, feeling, and doing. I mean, there is no way you can skip anything in the entire sequence, which means the investment of personal commitment to making this happen, as in terms of, in simple language, volunteers or anybody visiting, doing yatra and discovering, unlearning yourself, becoming zero, eliciting trust, and then getting into conversation, trying to see the pain point and then come with a solution, or in fact, generate the solution from the same ecosystem in which the problems are also there. I think this is entire crucible of testing the leadership of any individual who is beginning to actually make on. It looks very simple, although there are no labels, although there are no jargons. It is, according to me, is a huge movement of leadership that is working, and you have exemplified that in your own way, sir. So thank you so much. I would like to speak less and invite Captain Prabhakar to ask his question. Over to you, Captain.
Good evening, sir. Jai Hind, Brigade Sub. Jai Hind.
Yeah.
And good evening to both the professors. To start with, sir, I think your project named as Palle Srujana answers all our answers. What's your project line? And I see more of a human element in this, connecting people, and we have so much used technology these days. I think the human element, which is actually truly missing in our lives today, will actually help in this volunteering thing. And I think the best way to do it, apart from all your initiatives, I think this should be taken up at the school level itself as a kind of SCPW class, or some kind of so that schools can make up a program and take students to the villages and get a better exposure to that. But that's again up to the school management. I think that's a good platform to young students to get into this thing, sir. And wishing all the best, sir. Proud of you. Jai Hind, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Jai Hind. Just to not answer, but supplementing his thought process, we have been interacting with schools and colleges a lot, because we found that changing the formal system, elders, is difficult, but influencing the minds of youngsters is easier about the significance and the existence of grassroots innovations. We have been doing lakhs of students, we talk, a lot of internship, display exhibition we're doing. But of late, we convinced Unnat Bharat Abhiyan that the 5 villages supported by each institute, there the students should search for the problems and solutions. Solutions are grassroots innovations and problems. And that's a volunteerism. Don't give marks, don't give certificate. That's a volunteerism. And they must not only 5 anywhere. Every month, 1 innovation they must find out. Imagine every 6.5 lakh villages will be covered, and so many colleges we have, I don't know how many lakhs we have, so many monthly, so many ideas will come, so many solutions will come, or problems will come. It is so easy for you to engage them. And UPA has agreed it is going to come, and it's a documentation. We will tell you how to document it. And once you know, scouting and documentation both are done voluntarily, without any carrot hanging, you're making wonderful citizens for this country. And that's how slowly you must get in, so that the society is benefited, the larger society benefited by the people who are blessed and educated in the wonderful institutions.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And Jai Hind, sir. And thank you for both our Ragaru and Prasad professors. Thank you, sir. Pleasure listening to a very special and very different topic, and which will be useful for the human mankind. Thank you very much, sir. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind,
Thank
Captain.
you, sir.
Sir, I'm reminded of, while listening to you, I'm reminded of your movement and the work that you are doing of one professor who studied and taught at IIT Delhi, went into the jungles of Madhya Pradesh, Professor Alok Sagar. I went and met him in one of the small villages in Madhya Pradesh a couple of years back. And I spent about 48 hours with him throughout his movements, when he conducted the meetings and all. He has become so common with them, one of them, that they have placed so much of trust on him than anyone else who would probably come look like me. Such a learned man who has learned and taught at best of the places, has understood what is needed in the villages. And that time when I traveled with him, I placed one request to him, sir, I request you to come to our college and talk to the students. Then he said, they will not be interested in these things. There will be very few who will be interested in these things. And he gave a counter offer. The counter offer is that those who are interested, you bring them to me here. There is a great deal of learning here than in the portals of education that you run in the cities. And those who are really interested will get immersed here. They'll pick up lessons, 1 or 2, and they go back and do it in their neighborhood, wherever it is possible. I think today I'm reminded of such a great conversation I've had with Professor Alok Sagar. And once again, after so many years with you, sir, thank you so much for igniting these thoughts. It's amazing. I will now take another question. You want to say something, sir?
One word about Prof. Sudhakar. I saw his pictures and read the story. Amazing person. Please come over to see, understand what all we do. This, I could not say anything. We do a lot of Ganeshams. We take school, college children to live in the village for 3 days. And unknown people. And a lot of things we are doing, known as Ganesham. Even this is UBA is accepted to do it. I invite you all to come to my place. Mr. I coming there. And even students can come and see. We have innovations to see. Anybody wants to visit, just give me a tinkle. Come over with families. Sunday doesn't matter. It's a pleasure to interact with you.
Thanks for your offer, sir. Thank you so much. We'll quickly move to taking a few questions. I'm sure Wing Commander Gaurpati is ready to ask questions. Over to you, Wing Commander.
Good evening, sir. This is Gaurpati. How many volunteers?
Go ahead.
Right? We are missing. If the question is how do you volunteering, then I answer.
How many volunteers?
How many?
Yes, sir.
1 second.
Around 3,000.
The question is like this, sir. How many volunteers are with you and how to become a volunteer with you? These are 2 questions.
Yeah. Around 3,000 volunteers across the world. They don't come here. They need not come here. They'll do wherever they are. They do something for the village knowledge in whatever the fashion. And if you have liked the concept which I shared with you, Gaurpati Garu, you're already a volunteer. We don't have a form or a fee. Sankalpam. The moment you get convinced about this process, the thought and this initiative with the people, for the people, that's all, you're a volunteer. You can come anytime or talk to me and do whatever you can for this cause. You're welcome. All of you are welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
I can't hear you.
Yeah. We'll get back to him once he is fine. In the meantime, we'll request Sharma. Yeah, over to you, Sharma Pogla.
Greetings to all. Good to see Brigadier Ganesham here. And this is a great motivational webinar you have conducted. One thing which I really comment for this commitment to this movement, and this can lead away to a lot of things in the grassroots creativity. It can be in the music, it can be in the literature, it can be a lot of things which are being done in the villages we forgot and we don't support them. And this really leads a biggest movement I can think, which can lead to other things globally. I really commend Brigadier Ganesham for doing this, and I'm really happy that I'm one of his family members. Thank you.
What about your question?
My question is, how does the technology can help in this creativity to reach out to globally?
Thank you, brother. Yeah. They're using technology already, but they're using appropriate technology. They're not making with a mud or a wood. Technology is used to solve their problems. How much technology to be used? Appropriateness and affordability. And sustaining the environment around you is important in consuming technology, consuming the nature. And technology comes from nature. So that decision is taken by them because they live and also sustain the environment in the villages. They see every day. And Palle Srujana believes that villages are made by God and cities are made by humans. Simply because there is so much given to them uncultivated. Regeneration. Per capita regeneration, per capita nature in the village is so high, the city people cannot even think about it. And all these add to their belief that they have to sustain environment around them. And I also tell you, life is our responsibility. Lifestyle for environment, we have to learn from these people. You have your lifestyle, you have everything, but environment to be sustained. Bharatiya Sampradayam is what grassroots innovators are doing. We forgot with technology, corporates, money, economy, so many things have come up. They are required. But how can you forget environment for the next generations? There's so much people give us. And
Yes.
we learn a lot on this. That's why grassroots innovations, my topic is that leveraging grassroots innovations for changing the lifestyle for environment. Thank you, brother. All the way.
Thank you.
Thank
The
you.
one follow-up, if I could ask a follow-up is, I think this is grassroots in creativity is great and it can lead the way to other things, but we cannot stop it. I think we got to merge with the technology to improve those creativity, to make it useful globally. Globally, yes, it is the idea, but it has to grow into adding with the technology. I don't know. I hear a lot of disturbance. I think it should be added with the technology and make it much more useful globally. That's what my suggestion is.
You're right, but again, I repeat that technology is there in every innovation made by grassroots innovators, but it's appropriate technology, the affordable technology. And secondly, the formal system grows. You want to grow every day, year on year growth. Growth is the only mantra for them on consumption and production. The only two things they have as basic parameters on which the formal system grows. If there's no consumption, there's no production, formal system doesn't grow. If there's no growth, they get heart attacks. But in the villages, they grow on regeneration. Their growth is based on regeneration. Regeneration is what? If you have a synthetic to tamarind tree, you do nothing to it. It gives years and years and years. Tell me something in city technology, without input, it gives something to you. And I can quote, and you know how much in villages they have this kind of a regeneration. Input zero, output is there. Now, technology is not the answer. Technology is the means to live happily. And that sampradayam, that value system we start inculcating now, we find a different economy where ultimately we live happily. High technology doesn't mean happiness. So this has to be understood. It's not easy. It may take 100 years, 1,000 years, but a U-turn is required. Otherwise, our generations cannot survive. I think it's a big debate. I stop here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It's thank
you so much.
It's a very interesting idea and practice that you have initiated, sir. If it is not a focused activity on people, and if it is only on technology for the sake of technology, it will not work. It has not worked even without the examples that you have given. For example, in education, there are a lot of edtech players. Which edtech program and technology is not centered on the teacher, not centered on the students? It will not work. And we have many such examples in the recent past. Several edtech companies have failed because they have gotten carried away with the mumbo jumbo of making the technology and putting it together and trying to say that it is very different from the others. But it has not focused on the fundamental aspect of who is central to the delivery of this education, both teacher and the taught. So therefore, if it is not focused on the prime movers, it will definitely not be worthy of its invention. I think that's the way we have to look at that. Thank you so much, sir. This is triggering many reactions, but then we have the paucity of time. I'll take Sanjay to ask the next question. Over to you, Sanjay.
Thank you, Sudhakar. Am I audible?
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you very much, Brigadier Ganesham, for having exceeded, and it took me some time to convince Sudhakar for inviting you onto this platform, because I was very, very keen that you came on this platform to be able to explore this. And one of the beautiful things about the way you answered the last question and the way Sudhakar connected it, we have those examples living in front of us, the edtech stories that you're talking about. But my suggestion and my request to the rest who are here who would like to immediately become volunteers as well as like jump into the entire story, I think would be a little bit of invitation that you could give them for the Chinta Shodha Yatra that's coming end of this month. They can learn it by doing and participating along with you. And I'm of course looking forward to joining you in the Chinta Shodha Yatra this month. Thank you very much for having come, sir, and it's a great interaction that you have had and what I could feel as well as I could sense in that. Thank you, ICFAI Management School and Sudhakar.
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you, Sanjay, for that. Sir, I have the next question quickly before anybody raises their hand. That is, the government of India is emphasizing on biofuel manufacture and its adoption. Is it anyway connected to Palle Srujana, or do you have any views on this particular policy or decision?
So firstly, it's not connected because in the villages, fear is not a major issue. In their livelihood, fear is not a major issue because the regeneration takes place. In our childhood, we have seen how the firewood was used, not cutting the trees, but the branches which fell down. And always there's the branches come down. And that's the way they used it. So there was never a exploitation of the environment, but they lived, coexistence was there. So fuel is not a major issue for the villages, but now with a lot of modernism coming into the villages, the fuel is an issue. Yes, it has to be sorted out. Biofuel is a good answer, but Palle Srujana and villages, they do not focus on this. But some of the people start focusing on making electricity in the villages. We have about a dozen crazy ideas of making electricity, and they are working in 20 years, 17 years, unknown people, uneducated people, and they say, "Sir, banega, it will happen." We try telling, we support them, we take up all over the institutions everywhere. They have not lost hope. We have given up because we have mindsets. So that's what is I could see, but there's nothing much I can talk on biofuel.
Great, sir. Great. Thank you so much. There's one more quick question that I would like to raise is, what are your suggestions for us about taking precautions towards, to deal with climate change or saving the environment?
I have become a preacher now. Thank you. It's very difficult. You see, we all live for happiness, happiness. Focus on that. You will live happily, keep your people around happily. And whatever is required to do that, do it. And it doesn't require too much of things, but the way you think about it. And the second point is we have to respect every human being around us. And the moment we see discrimination, many issues come up. I'll give a small real example happened to us. We were walking in Araku Valley in 2008, and one of the French journalists was covering the yatra. He was walking with me. And while walking, we found a herd of sheep coming in front of us. My French friend saw it and said, "Brigadier, they all look same to me." I told him, "No, they are not, and shepherd can identify." So how can I identify when I can't identify? So I said, "Okay, we'll ask the shepherd." So a little later, shepherd came. And when we asked the question in Telugu, the shepherd gave a beautiful smile. And I'm sure we smile only when you're in a comfortable situation and we know things. He had an answer ready. He took a book from the hands of Frenchman, requested him to give it, opened the book, and showing the letters, he says, "They all look same to me." I have not thought of this answer. For him, letters are same. For us, sheep are same. Who is great? Everybody is good at his own way. Can we respect them and learn from each other? And this kind of basic values, when they come up, I think whole society changes. But they're not there at all. We don't tell them in the village or the house or school or college. We spell something different. Technical placement and patent. I say you must have patent, not placement. You create technologies, then placement comes after you. Placement is required. But can we insist on this? Every person has to create technology before, whether it is in the college or later. And that should be the ambition of the people, any technology. Village people do it. They get patents. Why not we, with so blessed guys we are? I think approach perhaps matters, but well, I'm not a preacher to talk about the world. The question is very heavy on me. I answer a simple man, whatever I can. Pardon me.
Great, great. So thank you so much for that input. Patent versus placement, and we should become creators of technology. Amazing. So one related question with respect to careers and students. How can students get careers that enable eco-friendly lifestyles?
You repeat again, I missed it.
How can students get careers that enable eco-friendly lifestyles? In what kind of careers they should pursue so that we all work on eco-friendly lifestyles?
Someone told me, a big man, that we generally want to be happy, but we fix a happiness level. When we reach it, we want to go higher. So we remain unhappy throughout our life because you stay below the line. Now, any career, anything you do is to acquire material benefits and intangible benefits. Career gives you more material than intangibles. Now, can we fix some level at some stage, or we keep like a mirage, you keep running after it? And career is decided by your life goals. In fact, if we ask question to all of you, why do we live? I don't know how many people can answer it. How many times they ask this question? We know how to live. We don't know why we are living. We should at a bus stand to take a bus, but we don't know where to go. If we know what is your aim of life, then all other things will automatically spell out. But if you keep shifting your goals, a goal becomes ambition, ambition becomes a higher ambition. That kind of a thing you do with less understanding of the life, there's a problem. I'll say one more statement and close it. See, basically, the whole creation is based on interdependence and coexistence. There are the two principles on which the entire creation is created, the way I understand it. And if these two are not there, not even a second it can survive. Now, to contain this, you have to contain all of us have to contribute to contain this. So why are we living is to contribute to contain the basic tenets of nature. And contribution comes from capabilities and competencies. And that comes only when you explore the unknown. Keep exploring unknown on a regular basis. And if you only know only small thing and stay in that only, you will never able to improve competencies. So to increase your contribution, you have to know the unknown. And contribution for what? Not for you, for the people around, for the interdependence and coexistence. It's not very theoretical, but can we translate these ideas into our life? And more we do, more clarity comes in. And careers, vehicles, houses, materials all come out of that, but they're not the first. Career is not first. Career first is what you want to do in life. And as they should debates at home, debates in the school, debates in the colleges, not with religious leaders, but they look differently. But with the materialistic thoughts, we can still debate. I'm sure something can come. I hope it's not short of the answer you expected.
No. It's amazing. I think you have very rightly, very nicely explained to us your process of thinking and how it is translated into your practice. So I completely get that. We need to explore the unknown. I think the driving principles are more or less same. The practices are very, very different. And some of the practices make the principles appear completely different. So it is totally practice driven. For example, innovation in our world, in the world where I study and where I come from and where most of us around the screen are, is having a template, it's called a sandbox, for example, which is bereft of any execution or production, so to say. So that's where sandboxes have to be encouraged. You understand that? But what you are doing is not a sandbox, it's actually a soil box. It's actually a sandbox with soil, or sandbox with production, sandbox with practice, sandbox with people. This is the principal difference between two worlds. This entire conversation, before I come to my last question, I will say that this entire conversation and lessons from this conversation are hinging upon a very, very important aspect today. That is, do more, be there to do more, and know there to feel more and then do more. I think it's about that. Whereas in a world where we are living currently, we talk more instead of the first three aspects. And I think that's the principal difference that I gather. With your permission, I'll go to the last question, sir, and then close it. The last question is: you have conducted over 200 webinars so far. That's what is the number I get, somewhere between 100 and 200.
100.
Yeah. So these webinars were basically part of the dissemination part of your formula. I know the objectives, it is dissemination, but how do you assess the impact? How do you assess the impact of these webinars? Because this is a very, very selfish question we are asking, and I'll come to that a little later after I hear from you.
Yes, Sudhakar Garu, Palle Srujana doesn't talk about impact, nor thinks about it. We just do it.
Just do it.
Impact is just do it, because we are doing for the people. You know, we get innovator into the webinar. He shares his solution for a problem he faced, and all the farmers, scientists, engineers, they all come and discuss. And he all got an idea how a problem can be solved the way he solved it. Now, it is for society to see how much they can utilize it, how many they can utilize it, how much impact they get it. Why should I be worried about impact? If impact is not there, then innovation is inappropriate. Impact is there, it will be there. Because grassroots innovators do not waste their time on desires, only on unmet needs. Every innovation, I assure you, it reduces some pain of some people. And when that much confidence we have in these innovations, why should I worry about impact? Palle Srujana doesn't get about impact. The impact will be there. But measurement of impact, what does it give me? To invest more? We have no investment. Why should I get impact? But the whole logic you see that there will be impact, that conviction we have. How much is not important? Even 1% does is good enough than not doing it.
Great, great. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. It is not the drive to keep a tab on the impact. It is the conviction that your work will definitely lead to impact. Very different way of looking at these things. I am so thankful for providing this perspective, and that is the whole purpose of why we do anything, why we do these webinars. We have done 120 in the last so many weeks. We started in 2021 and we are continuing uninterrupted, just like the way you have done. How do we measure the impact of these webinars? We really don't know the answer. Some of the friends, some of the seniors and knowledgeable people and leaders like you come and share their inputs, and we get thrilled. The joy of learning at that moment for us is amazing. And we feel that many members who have joined around the screen also have taken home some of the benefits of these nuggets of wisdom. And they keep writing to us, they keep talking to us. We disseminate this in terms of putting this on our archives, both in text form as well as video form. And we also publish books with permission from all the leaders. We do that, but we really don't know what is the impact. There is impact which is not actually measurable. But yes, today you have given me words that we are convinced, there is a strong conviction within us that it will be helpful, it will be beneficial. That's the reason we are conducting. And it connects very well with another answer that you have given. What kind of careers the student should have? Instead of asking what, I think we should be clear about the purpose, why they would like to do anything. The purpose actually drives the actions, and what technology, what course of path, all those things will be driven totally if the purpose is very clear. So here also, learning from you, we have more or less having our purpose very clear to ignite this spark of leadership among the youngsters and the leaders that are at various stages. The people who join us are not our students. In fact, if you see the entire list, none of them are our students. A few of them are leaders in our own system, academic leaders, but large number of them are from outside. They are from armed forces, they are from technology, entrepreneurship, sports, spiritual world, social entrepreneurship, so on and so forth. And we are thrilled that this is liked by so many people and they come back to us week after week. And credit goes to leaders like you who made it so much interesting and valuable for them, so that we don't have to even think about what is the impact. We only have to think about preserving it, produce it, and probably disseminate it in an appropriate manner. Make sure that the hygiene part is there and the benefits are drawn very, very clearly. Made it easy for them to actually read again and go over these conversations. It's a great day. We are blessed to have you, sir. And the lessons for schools, lessons for colleges are pretty clear. Immersive programs are required. They don't have to even go to these labs that you are actually labs of production and labs of innovation at the same time. They can get a sense of it and do the same thing wherever it is possible in their own sphere of life and work. Alienation has to be cut down. That's another great takeaway. It is one more way of talking about building inclusiveness in our country. The world that you talked about within India is a new world for most of us. We have gotten into details of how it is working. There's a great deal that we don't know at all. So that kind of learning, new learning that we are actually blessed with, it says that inclusiveness, cutting down alienation is amazing. It is possible only when unlearning is exemplified by true leaders like you. Unlearning, making yourself zero, eliciting trust, making them open up, let them share everything. And from that, you have to pick up your pieces of pain points and then try and formulate something very close to their practices in terms of a solution. That's pretty interesting. There are several takeaways which we have. Make it less formal, but more beneficial. Organization, less of an organization, more of direct benefit. Goodness with samvedana, no credit taking. Emphasis on people. These are a few nuggets that you have enlisted for us. More for less. I mean, the whole framework of more for less, MLM as you call, that principle itself with those examples are beautiful. The moment you look at that picture where there is a borewell and someone is actually working on the borewell and it goes into 3-4 pipes, this is what is the spark of innovation is. Innovation that works, innovation that delivers, and everything being centered around, as I mentioned in the beginning, volunteerism, values, and samvedana. There couldn't have been a better masterclass on innovation than what we have actually been exposed to, than what you have presented today. In my humble submission, I want to make sure that everybody around the screen is thankful. On behalf of ICFAI and everyone, we would like to really wish you all the best and great health in igniting several minds like this, lakhs of them. Continue to speak to youngsters, continue to speak to everyone in this country, sir. If possible, I'll request you to visit our campus at a time convenient to you, and we can go over this journey once again with a larger time frame that's available for them, and they can interact and ask questions and probably pick up what are the lessons for them to actually implement. That's where the focus is. How do we take it forward, and how do we keep this, make sure that these plans are afoot? Less of talking, more of doing, and that kind of leadership is what we have to imbibe. 120th session is a great session. Thank you so much, sir, for this time, wisdom, and expertise that you have shared with us. With your permission, we will close this session, and I want to thank all the members who have joined. Friends, do come back next week on September 22nd at 6:30 p.m. We are going to have another leader, Lord Karan Bilimoria from UK. He's going to speak from the Parliament of UK from London. He is the chairperson of Cobra Beers. He's an entrepreneur and an educator. He's going to talk about G20 presidency and what next for India. We will learn from Lord Karan Bilimoria as well next week. Till then, keep browsing Palle Srujana and learn more about the lessons, the practices, and how innovation has been fostered through upholding values and samvedana as a practice. Till then, have a nice weekend and good night.